Let's do a couple minutes on Super Bowl MVP, and we will make sure we get into it tomorrow on the show before the start of the postseason. So it's a really, really great betting market because you can get some really, really long shot prices at this point. And obviously not just this week, but after into divisional weekend, even before Championship Sunday, trying to get ahead of the market, what you think's going to happen in these games. So Femi, I'm going to read down to about 35-1, and you give me a couple ways that you're looking to play this market potentially. Patrick Mahomes is the favorite at plus 400, so his price a little longer than the Chiefs are to win the Super Bowl, which makes sense. The Chiefs have won 3 Super Bowls. Mahomes has been the MVP of all of them. Jared Goff is the second choice on the board, plus 550. Josh Allen, plus 650. Lamar Jackson is at 7. Jalen Hurts and Jahmyr Gibbs are both at 15. I find the Gibbs price interesting, given that David Montgomery is apparently going to be back next weekend. Saquon Barkley at 17, Sam Darnold 22, Amon-Ra St. Brown 25, Derrick Henry 30, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, all at 35. So, Mahomes is the chief that's taking up all the equity in this market, and the market seems to think there are a bunch of Lions that can all win. I will add, Aiden Hutchinson is 150-1 with the expectation that he may be back if the Lions make the Super Bowl. Femi, any bets for you here? How are you handicapping Super Bowl MVP? And again, we don't have to rush. We can get to a bunch of it coming up tomorrow on the show.
Yeah, I would say right now the two teams that are the most fun to bet are the Eagles and the Lions, because those teams, their quarterbacks, Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts, they're not seen on that legendary tier like the Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills. We're just going to talk about the teams that realistically, obviously everybody can win the Super Bowl, but realistically, there's 5 teams that can win it. It's the Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, and then probably Eagles, Lions on the NFC side. Of those 5 teams, the NFC ones are the ones with the quarterbacks that are not seen as the sun, the moon, and the stars, like Mahomes is for the Chiefs, like Lamar is for the Ravens, and Josh Allen is for the Buffalo Bills. So if you want to play some long shots, those are the teams that I would attack. It's not a long shot. He's actually now almost close to the same price as Jalen Hurts now. I think Saquon Barkley should actually be a shorter price than Jalen Hurts. Just based on how people think about the Philadelphia Eagles and the year that Saquon Barkley's coming off of, it almost feels like to me that this is similar to when we saw Cooper Kupp win Offensive Player of the Year, and he ultimately won Super Bowl MVP. And I know Stafford obviously threw an interception in that game against the Bengals, but when you have an offensive player in a skill position that's that kind of a season, people want to reward that, and also people already think of them as the best player on the team. That's Saquon Barkley. It's not Jalen Hurts, even though Hurts obviously means a lot more to the point spread than Barkley ever would mean, given the fact that he plays the more valuable position. So for me, Barkley 17-1, I think is a solid bet to make. There's some bigger prices out there. There's some 20-1. Shop around, try to find the best price possible. But I have no Eagles Super Bowl exposure, so I want something on the Eagles, and Saquon Barkley to win Super Bowl MVP is the way I want to bet that. And for the Detroit Lions, I think this team would be the most fun if they actually made it to the Super Bowl, because Jared Goff, the fans love Jared Goff. They chant Jared Goff, but nobody actually believes that Jared Goff is the best player on the Detroit Lions. No person that covers the sport believes that. Nick mentioned Aiden Hutchinson. What a story that would be, huh? If he plays in the Super Bowl, 150-1, because this is just Super Bowl MVP. This is not MVP of the playoffs. So he doesn't need to play in the divisional round. He doesn't need to play in the NFC title game. If he just comes back for the Super Bowl, let's say he gets a sack or 2 sacks and the Detroit Lions win, at 150-1, you can make a lot worse bets on a guy who probably was going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's the true DPOY this season. He got hurt. Congrats to Patrick Surtain for winning it. But Hutchinson was having an unreal season this year. And if he comes back, I think there's a chance that he can maybe make a couple of splash plays. The story writes itself after having a pretty gruesome injury in that game against the Dallas Cowboys. I think just a small bet. You don't have to go crazy on it because he might not even play. And you might just be holding this ticket, and maybe it's a nice little coaster on Super Bowl Sunday. But something on 150-1, I think, is worth just a little fun flyer bet to me in the Super Bowl MVP market. So I think Eagles and Lions are the teams. If you're going long shot hunting, those are the teams you want to attack.
All right, you bet here on a Tremendous Football Thursday talking Super Bowl MVP. So I'm been on record since August that I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. So I'm invested on Kansas City. I could bet Mahomes. I'm already in on the Chiefs. I feel if I'm going to bet Kansas City. So if the Chiefs make when the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, I think they will play either the Lions, the Eagles, or the Packers. And I don't anticipate a scenario where the Chiefs' defense balls out in the game to the point that a defensive player wins MVP. So for now, and that can change, but I'm operating under the assumption at this moment now that that's not going to happen. So it's either Mahomes or other offensive player. Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy are both at big prices right now. Big prices. Just wanted to throw that out there for people that like the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's say that Kansas City loses before the Super Bowl. And just play this out, right? So the Chiefs lose. If it's Buffalo versus like Detroit, let's say, I would love the Lions in that game. I think the Lions would run for about 1 billion yards in that game. That's like a Jahmyr Gibbs or a David Montgomery. If you think Kansas City gets knocked off and you like Buffalo and you like Detroit, I think if that's the matchup, I think the Lions slam them. I also would like the Eagles in a Super Bowl matchup with the Buffalo Bills. That's a Saquon Barkley, 150-yard game. That's a Saquon MVP game, if you think it's going to be like the Eagles versus the Bills. If it's Baltimore versus one of these teams, then I think you probably look at Lamar Jackson. So I think it really depends on, do you see the Chiefs getting there? If yes, and then they're going to win, do you want to take a shot on someone besides for Mahomes? Do you see the Chiefs losing prior to getting there, and then it's probably Buffalo or Baltimore? Then who do they play out of the NFC? Who wins that matchup, and try and pick someone from there? So if it's Lions-Bills, I love the Lions running backs. I like Worthy and Kelce if I'm not going to go with Patrick Mahomes. If it's Eagles-Bills, I love Saquon Barkley. And if it's Ravens versus almost anyone in the NFC, I'm going to like Lamar Jackson. Now, I'm on record saying I love the Chiefs. So I'm probably just going to end up doing a little Travis Kelce and a little Xavier Worthy in addition to my Kansas City Chiefs prices and the exactas that I've got with every team remaining. It's a fun market. I have every, not every matchup. I don't have Rams
the realistic
over Texans.
matchups.
The realistic matchups, yeah. I think I have everything. To win a good amount.
Which is
hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Barring any crazy result, because Cincinnati went on a Super Bowl run a few years ago, but barring anything like that, you're probably going to be in good with this Super Bowl exacta market. Would you ever bet Derrick Henry to win Super Bowl MVP? Because his production is not tied to Lamar, but it just feels like with Lamar and Josh Allen, people are going to want to give them the MVP, even if they're not even justified. It's almost going to be like Peyton Manning, Dominic Rhodes situation, where they're like, hey, you're just still the MVP, even though Dominic Rhodes probably should have won it in that Super Bowl over the Bears.
Or Joseph Adai, to be fair.